Chapter 1956 Xuanwu. Li Guangxiao was lost in thought. Of course he was tempted, but he had to weigh the pros and cons. The underground world is in crisis. If any mistake is made, the East China Sea region will be doomed. High risk always coexists with high returns. Uncle, at a time like this, being prudent is not the best option. Because we don't take the risk of becoming stronger, then when we face a crisis in the future, we will become prey to everyone's bullying. Isn't the lesson from the invasion of the Wolwan Empire enough? These words deeply hurt several people at the scene. It wasn't long since Donghai City was breached, and Donghai City suffered heavy casualties, but also lost a large number of well-trained soldiers, as well as the Azure Dragon they relied on. Li Guangxiao understood that they were being pushed forward by this ever-changing era. If you don't move forward, you will fall behind and be swallowed up by those powerful and terrifying beings. They have no choice. Li Guangxiao sat up straight with his hands on the armrests of the sofa. He looked at Xuanwu and Suzaku. Xuanwu, Suzaku, what do you think about this matter? Xuanwu thought for a while and replied, If it is in the ocean, I will not be afraid of anyone, but it is best to send someone to investigate in advance before going there. On land, Xuanwu is just a giant turtle that is difficult to move. But when you get to the ocean, especially the deep sea, that's his world. The advantage of the deep-sea behemoth allows him to fight against a bishop-level alien, and he can even gain the upper hand. Li Guangxiao looked at Suzaku. Zhuke said calmly, I think this is an opportunity that cannot be missed. We must become stronger so that we can protect everything we want to protect. Think about that guy, Chaos. He is smart enough to know that retreating is not the solution to the problem. Li Guangxiao stared at Li Changgong. There was a smile in Li Changgong's eyes. He knew that Li Guangxiao would definitely agree to his proposal. In this world full of uncertainty, in this world full of danger, the only way to succeed is to keep getting stronger. Okay, if we can confirm that what you say is true, then we can cooperate. It is not difficult to confirm this matter. The East China Sea region has a world-class navy, and nuclear submarines have been active under the ocean since the alien era. This killer weapon is still the favorite weapon used by the world's top powers. A powerful nuclear submarine can ensure accurate strikes on enemies anywhere in the world and launch the most advanced intercontinental ballistic missiles, equipped with Reaper warheads. There is even a recognized saying that the most advanced nuclear submarine in the world is capable of destroying a small country. The results of the investigation will be out soon. Abnormal civilization activities were indeed discovered in the area provided by Li Changgong. However, ordinary nuclear submarines can only dive to the middle waters and cannot dive at great depths. This is also the reason why Li Changgong must seek cooperation with the East China Sea region. The support he wanted most was actually the submarine owned by the East China Sea region, the Xuanwu, which was unique in the world and could dive to a depth of more than 10,000 meters in the sea, reach the seabed area, and still maintain strong combat effectiveness. Today, Xuanwu is a half-biotech, half-mechanical army. Zhang Yi distributed a portion of mechanical life forms to each major region, including some remains of super-large mechanical life forms. These advanced technologies were soon applied in the military field by the East China Sea region. The body structure of Xuanwu is mainly based on his own hard flesh and blood shell, which is later integrated with various modern weapons. A large nuclear reactor was also built in his abdomen. After a period of careful preparation, the Xuanwu officially left the Donghai City military port and headed towards the waters near North Africa. The sea monster sank to the bottom of the sea. As slow as Xuanwu was on land, he was as fast in the deep sea. Now his body has reached more than 2 meters in length, and of course, his width is about the same. The interior was completely built to look like a battleship, with a large number of professional engineers working inside. After entering the deep sea, the light disappears completely and radar equipment must be used to explore everything around. There are some lighting equipment outside the Xuanwu, but you can only see the scenery within a distance of less than 10 meters around it. After the end of the world, the changes in the deep sea are more serious than those on land. Because the extreme cold has a hard time affecting the deep sea, This place has become more lively than before the end of the world. Various powerful sea beasts roam the deep sea. The weak floating fish or seaweed in the past may mutate into carnivorous monsters and hunt all living things. However, after sensing the aura of Xuanwu, the sea beasts quickly hid away from him, many miles away. Inside Xuanwu's body, Li Chonggong leaned against the porthole, from which he could see the sea view outside. More than 1,000 meters deep in the sea, there was deathly silence. Why is there nothing here? I was hoping to see some deep-sea monsters. Li Chonggong smiled and said to Suzaku and Xuanwu beside him. Xuanwu was playing games with headphones on and ignored him. Zhuke raised a somewhat cold smile. This is still in the area near the East China Sea. Can you guess what Xuanwu relies on to maintain its energy supply on a daily basis? Li Chonggong's eyes widened slightly. You mean to say that all the giant beasts here were eaten by Xuanwu? Zhuke said, the law of the jungle in the deep sea is even more cruel. Xuanwu can increase his strength by eating powerful sea beasts. With the help of Donghai City, all the powerful sea beasts in the nearby waters have become his food. In this area, he is the undisputed king of the ocean. In this sea area, there is no marine creature that is not familiar with his scent. So, wherever he appears, those creatures will stay away from him. Li Chonggong thought about it and asked a curious question. So, what about leaving the East China Sea and entering the deep sea in the ocean area? The maximum depth in the East China Sea is only a few thousand meters, and entering the deep sea is like entering the abyss from the plain. The difference in depth is extremely large. Humans have always been curious and awed by the deep sea, and legends about sea monsters have never ceased since ancient times. Upon hearing this, Zhuke did not answer, but looked at Xuanwu, because she was not very clear about this issue. Xuanwu didn't even raise his head. It was only after a long time that he felt Li Chonggong's somewhat fiery gaze, and then he raised his head and looked at him impatiently. Even if I enter the deep sea, I will still be the king who dominates all directions. Because I am essentially human, the most intelligent creature of this era. I have the wisdom of humans and the power of sea beasts. Even if the monsters in the deep sea are powerful, I will kill them. I'm looking forward to encountering those powerful sea beasts. Even bishop-level sea beasts, because they are all my prey. The wildly growing sea beasts were no match for the Xuanwu, who was armed with the power of an entire region. Wisdom is a gift bestowed by Kagago, the lord of all things in the ether realm, to mankind in every era. It is also a weapon. Chapter 1957 Undersea Light Source. Xuanwu sneaked all the way without encountering any obstacles along the way. He is too powerful. With the support of the most advanced technology of mankind, and himself being a black chariot-class sea beast, he is indeed the undisputed king in the deep sea. Isn't it awesome? This is all because there is no way to log in. It would take more than 3 days to advance from the southeastern waters of Huashu Kingdom to the western waters, even if he advanced very quickly. The way Xuanwu replenishes its energy is very simple, that is, random hunting. Among the mutated marine creatures, there is no shortage of giant sea beasts. Sharks that are 50 meters long and blue whales that are hundreds of meters long are like barbecue in front of him. As long as Xuanwu is hungry, it can immediately use its powerful hunting ability to search for all large creatures within its sensing range. Laugh. He opened his mouth, and a deep blue energy ray directly crossed the vast sea and blasted an underwater volcano in the distance. Suddenly, a giant manta ray hidden under the volcano was pierced. Xuanwu flew over quickly with its webbed feet flapping, bit the fish in one bite, and without rushing to eat it, just held it in its mouth as a snack. Li Chongyu and Zhuke were looking at the map. After 3 days, they were not far from the designated sea area. You can feel that the surrounding seawater is surging more violently, as if the seawater from all directions is converging in one direction. Now what they need to find is the entrance to the underground ruins. Xuanwu, it's time to slow down. Li Chongyu reminded Xuanwu Dao. Xuanwu's spirit was still playing the game. After hearing Li Chongyu's reminder, he lazily asked, "Are you done?" "Well, We have reached the nearby sea area. According to the flow of the seawater, Xuanwu is only about 300 nautical miles away from here. You need to hide your breath and don't be discovered. Xuanwu said, simple. He slowed down his swimming speed. His body, which was more than 200 meters long, was as small as a particle in the vast, deep ocean. The waves caused by his swimming would not even be considered a breeze if it were on land. Although they knew the approximate location of Xuanwu under the sea, Xuanwu was only an entire sea area, and it was not easy to find the correct entrance and contact the ruins of the underwater world. Furthermore, no one can judge what kind of dangers are hidden under the deep sea. Even if Xuanwu is here, we must be careful at every step. Danger and opportunity coexist, and they are all very clear about this. The huge basalt swam slowly in the deep sea 10,000 meters below, and the traces of rolling sea water it brought up were slowly smoothed out by the sea. The deep sea is as silent as death. At this depth, the number of living species has obviously decreased. Even among whales, the world's largest biological species, there are very few mutant individuals that can dive to such depths. Xuanwu swam cautiously towards a place where the ocean currents converged. As the distance got closer, the suction became stronger. Finally, from a long distance, they clearly saw a huge cave. A deep blue cave, located at the deepest part of the ocean, is like the abyss of the surface world. There was a bright light there, illuminating the entire sea so that it was clearly visible. The light's source on the seabed. There was a look of astonishment in Li Changgong's eyes. He leaned over to the porthole and stared at the huge deep-sea cave. The seawater from all directions rushed there. The blue light was a little psychedelic, and it seemed that the entire cave was flickering. Xuanwu immediately used the equipment mounted on him to move closer for a spy, and discovered that the huge cave was actually filled with a kind of tubular creatures, crawling all around the deep pit, emitting a blue light. It's not the cave that's glowing, but that weird creature has absorbed some substance from the seabed, so it can glow. After all, this place is where ocean currents converge. So there must be many special substances gathered here. Xuanwu said to Li Changgong. His body was still more than 10 miles away from the cave, so he slowed down and slowly approached that place. We have reached the target area. Next, we should enter it. Xuanwu's voice became much more solemn. This is the deep sea, more than 10,000 meters deep, and the pressure of the seawater is enough to destroy most of the submarines in the world. Ordinary detectors are useless. Given the extent of the ocean currents flowing into the blue cave, those detectors will be swallowed up directly and cannot be retrieved. It is a miracle to be able to move in a place like this. If any trouble is encountered, it will be a serious crisis. Li Changgong took a deep breath. Although he was mentally prepared, it would be a lie to say he wasn't nervous. However, he still said firmly, "It has come to this point. I will not retreat. Let's go and see what secrets are under the legendary Xuanwu." He licked his lips, and the shadows of several people emerged in his mind. The first person that came to my mind was Zhang Yi. Fortune and honor are sought in danger. Back then, Zhang Yi was able to grow from a small warehouse manager in Tianhai to a top-notch warrior in the Japanese military. Li Changgong can't do that either. Xuanwu and Zhuke looked at each other, and there was some ripples in their eyes. Don't they want to become powerful quickly? A horse cannot grow fat without night grass. Relying solely on the supply from the large region, they have already fallen behind the echelon of the world's top aliens. So the two of them had no objections, and Xuanwu directly said to all the navy in his body, "Prepare to enter the cave. Soon, we will continue to dive." The sailors on the Xuanwu were all elite soldiers who had experienced many battles. They responded immediately and began to adjust the parameters of various equipment on the Xuanwu. It's nothing more than adjusting the nuclear reactor and ensuring that the various most advanced underwater weapons in the world on the Xuanwu can be used normally. Boom. Xuanwu no longer controlled his body to fight against the ocean current, but swam along the current towards the deep-sea cave. The surroundings were terrifyingly quiet. The closer they got, the more deafening the sound of the ocean current rushing into the cave became, shaking even Xuanwu's body. In this desert of life, there are no other living creatures except those special tubular creatures clinging around the caves. Either they dare not get close at all, or anyone who dares to get close has probably been swallowed up by the blue cave. Xuanwu entered the blue cave, which was an extremely large cave. Rather than a cave, it is more like a gate to another world. After entering the cave, the surrounding rock walls were covered with these tubular life forms, so it was always bright below. Dear viewers, thanks for staying with me. We'll try to get you more updates. Please like and subscribe and share the video with your friends. Love you all.